Hey everyone, it's Catherine from A Perfect Place to Start, and I have the cutest wood round ornaments to share with you, so let's go ahead and get started. So for all the ornaments today, I'm using these wood rounds that I got at Hobby Lobby. They come in a pack of 6. I covered this one with my Cashew Waverly chalk paint. Then I got a package of these little sticks, also from Hobby Lobby in the wood area. I covered them with some orange Waverly chalk paint, and now I'm adding some little dots with my tool from the Dollar Tree, and this is how the project turned out. I think he's adorable, super easy, and definitely something that anyone could make.
Let's go outside. Can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I painted this wood round with my Cashew Waverly chalk as well, and then I picked up these little wooden beads also from Hobby Lobby. I had this fabric on hand. I believe it also came from Hobby Lobby, and I just cut a square of the fabric and I'm wrapping it around the top to give it the gnome hat, and then I just used the same hanger and put it through the hat. I'm using a mop from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut off one of the strands and then cut that strand in half, and I added that all around the wood round to give him a beard. Once I have his beard on, I go ahead and trim it down a little bit, and then I'm using my ink from, it's a distressing ink from the scrapbooking area, and I'm just going to go over his beard and the wood beads, and then this is how this project turned out. I think he is absolutely adorable, super simple, and pretty quick to make. So for this wood round, I'm creating a gingerbread man. I painted him with some brown acrylic paint, and then I'm just adding the icing and eyes and mouth to the front of him. So I used some white acrylic paint to just paint a swirly top at the top of the round for his icing, and then I'm just creating some eyes. I went ahead and looked online for just a pattern for his face, drew it out on a piece of paper, and then had it next to me while I was painting. Now, I don't do a lot of freehand tool painting for her face, so I was really super excited with how mine turned out. There are several different faces that you could choose from. You could even stencil this on if you wanted to, if you weren't feeling super pumped or excited about freehanding this, but I think that he turns out absolutely adorable. So I just go ahead, I have some super thin brushes. Mine came from Walmart, but Hobby Lobby has some really nice options as well. Definitely invest in some really nice paintbrushes if you're going to do faces, because you really want the super thin paintbrushes. So now I'm adding his mouth, and I just give him an open mouth with a little bit of a smile. Then I'm going to go back in with some red acrylic paint. I'm going to give him a nose and a little tongue in his mouth, and then I'm going to go back with some white acrylic paint again and my little tool from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some little dots on his cheeks. The one thing that I left out of this was some splatter. If you watch Country Charm with Tracy, she does a lot of splattering on her projects, and I think this guy would have benefited from some splatter on his face. But other than that, I'm super excited with how he turned out, and I was super excited with kind of my first attempt at a gingerbread face.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So for this project, I went ahead and painted the round again with my Cashew Waverly chalk paint. Then I picked out some green buttons out of my Dollar Tree button container. They aren't all the same shades of green, and they aren't all the same size, but that's okay. That's what gives it the kind of charmy look. So I just went ahead and I glued them into a pattern of a triangle, obviously going from larger to smaller towards the top. Once I get all of the green buttons glued on, I took a couple brown buttons, glued them down at the bottom to give us a tree trunk, and then I decided our button tree needed a star, so I went ahead, picked out a yellow button, and glued that yellow button to the top of the tree. This is a super simple project. Definitely love how it turned out. You could make any shape you really wanted on here. You could do a star, I don't know, there's lots of choices here, and you know how much I love buttons. So anyway, once I have that all done, then this is the final look of this ornament. I think it's adorable. It definitely has a super fun charm.
We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year.
So for this wood round, I went ahead and again painted it with my Cashew Waverly chalk paint, and now I'm just going to freehand a snowflake. I am just using some brown acrylic paint, the same paint I used for the gingerbread's face, and I just go ahead and paint on a really simple snowflake shape. Now you could get as detailed as you wanted on here. I was going for simplicity, so I just kind of made like a big star, and then I added the end points to make it look more like a snowflake. Then I took some Modge Podge and I painted some Modge Podge all over the snowflake, and now I'm adding some glitter just to give it a little bit of sparkle and shine. And then this is the final look of this project. I think this is absolutely adorable and definitely has some rustic country charm.
Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So for this project, I'm using that brown acrylic paint again to paint the bottom of the round, and then I took this Cashew by Waverly chalk paint and I'm just going to paint an oval here at the bottom. The oval is going to be our snowman because he is going to be looking up into the sky. So once I get the oval on, then I'm going to take some orange Waverly chalk paint and paint on his nose. It is going to be up straight into the sky because he's looking up, and if you can't tell, Kitty came to visit and he had to sit right in front of my project. My table is right in front of the window, which is his favorite spot, and so he thinks that he owns my craft space. So it definitely is his domain during the day. So once I get my nose painted on, I'm going to use my black acrylic paint and I'm just going to paint some little dots around by his nose to add for his mouth. I'm using the end of a paintbrush. I find that that works super fun and easy, but you can also use that little tool I had earlier in the video. I got that from the Dollar Tree, and it has different sizes for your dots, one on each end of the tool. Once I get those painted on, then I'm taking my Cashew Waverly chalk paint again and a small brush. I'm going to add one bigger snowflake at the top of his nose, and then I'm going to just add some little dots around the whole brown area to make it look like it is snowing. So I'm just using the end of this paintbrush. This is a super thin paintbrush, so it makes some really good dots. You want to make sure you have a steady hand if you're using the paintbrush part because it has a tendency to make strokes. So once I get all of the dots on, then this is the final look of this project, and I think that he is absolutely adorable.
Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on.
Here we are at the end of the video. I hope that you guys got some inspiration today and that you are just totally ready for Christmas DIY season. As always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start, and I will see you in my next video.